Right, here we go. Third time lucky. Sorry, guys. 7 minutes into it. Here we go. Good evening. Welcome to Barbers Arms, episode 42. It's Friday night. It's now nearly 8:10. We've had a few technical difficulties, which Gaz says is not too bad after 42 episodes. Coming up on tonight's show, me and Gaz are going to take you through a very quick news desk now, because obviously we're short of time. Around about 8:15, we've got LOUIE FIERRO coming on from Canada. It's one of the top stylists in there, just nominated for Canadian Barber of the Year, and he is the Wahl lead educator out in Canada. Around about 8:45, depending on time, we've got Gaz's Cocktail, which is one of Trevor's favourites. And then we've got one of our local heroes, Chris Abbott, is going to be joining us around about 10 to 9. And then me and Gaz will take you up to closing time, all in association with the British Barbers Association and Wahl UK. Without further ado, please welcome, third time lucky, my co-host, Mr. Gary Machin.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Simon Shaw. Well, that has been the most awkward start of any show that we've ever had. And we're sorry to all our viewers, and surely by the time this goes out tomorrow, it'll be edited as it goes out live.
Keep it as it is.
Keep it as it is, yeah. We've done very well. We're on show 42. We've never had any setbacks like that before. So I'm glad you've all stuck with us, to all our loyal watchers and fans out there. 65,000 views last week, little less than we used to, but it's still over 5.5 million views in total, which is absolutely fantastic. Week 41 last week, we had some great guests. Thank you to Mr. Mark Woolley. And you know, with Sam Arthur, this show is only as good as the guests, and the guests seem to just get better and better and better. And they're great guys as well. Lovely to have them on the show, and to actually show us different parts of the country and different parts of the world as well. So got some great guests on, as you said earlier. What are you drinking? I've had a bit of a homage to the IPA, because we've got a North American on. I've gone for some IPAs, just bring back a few memories when I travel. So we've got Shipyard, Ringwood, and Abbott for our other guest tonight, Abbott Ale. But I'm starting off with the old-fashioned favourite, Mr. Newcastle Brown. So
I'm pimping it up. I'm having a Stella in a wine glass. No wrong with that. Guys, there's a bit to get through. There's a few announcements to make tonight in terms of which guest we should have had on. We've moved it around, so we've got a little bit of a statement coming up from Barbers Arms about we were going to have a barber on tonight that had been seen out cutting footballers' hairs, and there's been a lot of press about it, and we were going to have that individual on the show tonight, but through production and speaking to the individual and the sponsors who sponsor the individual as well, we thought it were all best probably not to do that tonight. As we said, we're a lot better looking than Andrew Marr, but we're not as qualified as him to interview these people, and we do have a care about people as well and future careers. So Gaz is going to read out a statement where our stance is on any cutting of hair, whether that's celebrity, footballers, any grey areas. We'll give you the official government stance on that. That's going to come up shortly on Barbers Arms. Gary, just before we start tonight, you know, I think it's been, especially last year, there were a few deaths, and, you know, again, this year with Alan Stone and stuff like that, it's been tough. But one of our, you know, real good colleagues, Frank Rimmer, the presenter, especially when we were out in Chicago together. He's got one of my favourite stories is when I was whistling all night and Frank was there. But Frank, look, obviously we're going to mention this tonight. Frank Rimmer Senior passed away last week, and we just want to raise our glasses to you, Frank, and your family from everybody at Barbers Arms.
Frank and Frank Senior, all the very best.
All the best, pal. It's quite tough I think we mentioned any of this lately. You get quite emotional. I know Frank said something in a message to me that his dad was his hero. And I think that is, you know, it's really nice to hear in this day and age, because I think, you know, we've just done this Barber's Arms, and it kind of like screwed up for the first 10 minutes. We had no sound, but we didn't crack up. We didn't throw his phones against, you know, with pros. And I think the older generation still has so much to offer. And a lot of people out there laughing at me saying older generation. I'm 51 and Gaz is, you know, just short of 60. But it's tough. But Frank, you know, I send all my regards to you. I know I've messaged you loads of times, mate, and to your mum and to all your family. You know, give your dad a good send-off, pal, and everybody in the industry really rates you. So, head up, pal.
Yeah, just like to second that. And, you know, these are hard times as it is, but to lose family in such circumstances is a terrible thing. So all our love goes out to Frank and all the family for Frank Senior. So moving on, we've got a great show. As we said, we're just a little bit behind time now. We had 10 minutes of mayhem at the start of the show. So we will go on. Just a few things on the news desk. As you know, we hopefully, this is a good news week this week. The vaccine's doing great. From a COVID point of view, we've got good news coming over this next coming week, hopefully. On the 22nd, Monday, we should be having a route out of COVID. So if you believe all the papers and if you read everything that you believe, hopefully we're going to have some good news on Monday off Boris. I know things are starting to move, you know, in the devolved nations as well, in the UK as a whole. Scotland's schools are going back, which is a biggie. Primary schools are going back on the 22nd as well, which I think that's great news for a lot of people. Especially, it takes the pressure off family, off parents and everything. So I think, you know, we've got to treat that as a little test for the rest of the country, for the rest of the UK. If numbers don't go back up dramatically, that's going to be the step forward, and hopefully we're going to follow that all over the country. Just a few other things. I know we've got this statement that we want to put out, and we'll get that out of the way in a minute. I just want to say, on a personal note, from an employer point of view, if you've got insurance claims going on, Colette Osborne, absolute diamond in the industry at the moment. She's doing a lot of work, a lot of great work. Salon Owners Limited. Go onto her site. She's got a lot of news about if you're putting a claim in for your business interruption. And, you know, I know a lot of people have been told that you can't claim and you shouldn't claim, and there's all these stories, but there is a company now willing to represent. I'm not going to push the company, but just have a look at Colette Osborne's site. But there is a time limit on this, because we're coming up to 12-month anniversary of the first lockdown at the end of March, and it was different for other places. But I know for us in England, it was the 23rd. So we need to get those claims. And there is a company now that's got some light at the end of the tunnel. So if you think you might have a claim, or if you don't, just get in there. It costs you nothing at all. Just get in there, get some advice off Colette, off that.
Gaz, my phone's pinging, right? So we were going to have a guest on this week. My phone's pinging, asking what's happening. Lots of people have tuned in. So I think it's about time to probably kind of read our stance. What we're going to, you know, neither me or Gaz are in government. We're not the Minister for Small Businesses or Close-Up Businesses or Barbering or Hairdressing. We work alongside the government bodies, both professionally and on Barber's Arms. And so this statement that Gary's going to read is exactly where you are. So if you are out there cutting hair, just going to people's houses, you know that's bang out of order anyway. As a Yorkshireman, somebody said something to me the other day. I don't think it's as bad as this, but it's not far off. When I was growing up as a young lad, we had a miners' strike, and, you know, some people went back to work. The majority of people then, you know, were kind of like a stigma where they used the word scab. I'm not saying that this is in that category, but a lot of people have said, especially the Yorkshire mates, have said people are working at the minute and going around cutting hair. You kind of like, you kind of just defeated the object for everybody else, because everybody else seemed to try to do it the right way, getting the government loans, getting the government grants, whatever's been available. Let's clear it up for once and for all, because there's supposed to be this grey area where people have image rights or wherever, where you've got a stance to go on. So let's clear it up, Gary, for everybody who's listening tonight, where you stand if you want to cut people's hair. If you want to read the statement out, Gary.
So we've been in touch with different agencies, we've been in touch with different other organisations, and there is different policies, and there is, I will direct you to the end. But this is a piece that went out, the NHBF, in association with the BBA as well. This is exactly, we work very closely, but this was a statement that went out, and this is an actual quote from the actual regs. So, following claims that appearing on TV allows footballers to have their haircut legitimately under the current rules, the Department for Business, Energy and Industry, which is BEIS, which is who actually administer and control us as a sector, has given the national industry the following clarification. While elite sportsmen can remain open, haircuts are not required in order to play sport. Hair and makeup is allowed for TV and film production, high-end and film, but in this case, we are talking about sport, not making a film. They just happen to be on TV. Therefore, footballers, managers, linesmen, referees are not allowed to have haircuts, and we urge them and all hair professionals to follow these government guidelines in order to keep colleagues, families, friends, and wider community safe until the relevant restrictions are lifted. Now, also, I've been in touch with the Department of Sport and Media, who govern film and media. They've come out with their, I've read their regulations as well, and it's all about film and high-end drama. So not even normal tally. If you go into, I'm sure, onto normal sets of TV, so, you know, for instance, Phil and Holly, they're supposed to be doing, they do not come under this remit where they should be having the hair and makeup done. They are in closed sets where there's only certain bubble of cameramen, sound technicians, lighting. Anybody else is not allowed on there. They have to social distance. And if they are having this done, so if they are working on a production, they have to be in that bubble. So you can't, anywhere that's closed to do this, any sort of hairdressing, makeup, anywhere that's supposed to be closed, you cannot do that from those locations anyway. You have to be in a bubble, and you have to be in the actual location where it's taking place. So legally, morally, whichever way you look at it, and whichever way you fight your way out of this paper bag, you are not supposed to be cutting footballers' hairs. So, and that's where it stands, and that's where it finishes. And we want to draw a line under this, but it's something that's constantly in the papers. We're constantly getting messaged about us. And until we stand together as an industry and we are regulated, this is something we cannot stop happening. We cannot until we are regulated. So I urge everybody to stand together, form a line, and let's get us registered. So look, that's where we fit on this.
There's a bit of optimism out there as well. I think 16.5 million people have been vaccinated so far, but there's still that wary thing, and it's you know, we had a meeting today at Wahl, and it's that can be a little bit of a false sense of security as well, because until the second vaccination's in, the signs look really good. But you know, I think we've still got to be careful if you've got, you know, parents and things that have been vaccinated this first time. Until the second vaccination's in, you know, it is looking promising, but let's just still be careful. The rates are coming down in certain areas. They're still high in other areas, but they are coming down. You know, things are getting back to where you think, you know, this is what you want to do. You know, I would always say to people, I won't even think about it till end of April, May, but actually this last few weeks, and this last week in particular, I'm a bit more optimistic for everybody that you could be opening up back in April. Easter's beginning of April. They said potentially after Easter. So mid-April could be a promising, realistic target, especially not only for our sector, but also for pubs, restaurants, and theatres and nightclubs and things like that. So Got to do the right thing. Great statement, guys. I think you've earned a shot there with that as well, to be fair to you, reading that.
I'll have another one then with you. I've got nothing on it. I aren't working tomorrow, so I might get have a few sherbets tonight. Good health, everybody. Cheers to all our fans and followers, and near and far, especially in North America and down in Australasia.
Just want to clear up for all our viewers as well. It don't really matter whether he's got out on tomorrow, he's got out on tonight, or if he's got note on his bottom half while he's talking to you all. He will still nail that bottle of
Hey, there's somebody at the door.
Anyway.
Oh, there's somebody at the door. Come on, there's somebody at the door. Oh, there's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door.
Till midnight tonight. Knock, knock. I think we've got one of our first guests in tonight. Look, I've known this guy. And one of the top man, and just been nominated for Wahl Canadian Barber of the Year. Please welcome in Barbers Arms in his beautiful setting, Mr. Louie Fierrro.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite. I was actually wondering when you were gonna get around to it. But I appreciate it.
Listen, where you get around to stuff, I've moved fucking quick on this one. Don't worry about that one.
Hey, Gary.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? It's been a long time.
Yeah, this is my homage to you. This when I visited Canada. This is
Fireball.
Really, really bad habit.
Yeah.
But I know it's a long time since. I know we crossed paths quite often. But the last time I saw you properly and we had a drink, and the last show we were at is the ABA in Toronto in March 2018. I can't believe it. It's coming up to 3 years ago. It's just crazy. Great show. Ilan put a great show on. I hope you send all my best to him. We didn't manage to get to it 2020 because of everything that's gone on. And then obviously 21, it looks like it's not going on again. So, you know, from a show point of view, I know it's a huge part of your business, but it's horrible not to actually see people as well, isn't it? To network and bump into the people that you know and love.
It's hard to fathom, you know, if we were asked 5 years ago that if we could understand where we're at today, it would be ridiculous to even think it. But it's, you know, it's incredible how we are so adaptable. I mean, in the span of 1 year, you know, my actions, my work, my mannerisms, everything has changed. Like incrementally every day, I get further and farther away from people. You know, it's ridiculous. I keep saying that I don't want to. I don't want to accept this as the new norm. People keep saying the new norm. I won't accept that. I have to. You know, I'm Canadian, but I'm Italian. I hug people. I can't. This is crazy. But what's interesting is watching what you guys are talking about, and globally. You know what, man? We're all in this together. You know, right down to the shutdown. I think you said March 23rd. I think that's when we shut down in Canada. So it's like bang on.
I think one of the things that I've learned with Louis as well is such a vast country with a small population, Canada. So one of the sayings that's become synonymous, I think, with lockdown is that we've all got different boats, we've got different paddles, but we're all in the same storm. So look, I speak to you on a weekly basis. We're going to talk. You've seen the show, you know what's coming up. We're going to ask you some career questions. Then we're going to do, Gaz has got some bits to do with you. Then we're going to build a profile at the end. So we're going to have some fun. We're a little bit behind on time tonight through technical issues, but we'll get through as much of it as we can. Louis, you know, in Canada, one of the things, and I'm not going to talk about the restaurant that you took me and Sam Campagna to would that be in last March? No.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, wow. And it was amazing. I loved it. I loved the time there. We had some, the basketball game we went to watch in that restaurant where the place erupted. Guys, we've never seen it like it. It was just unbelievable. It took us to this really cool place. And there's an important basketball game, and he scored in the last row. The whole place erupted. It was fantastic. But Louis, we do a lot of traveling together globally, and we see a lot of each other in North America. So obviously we do spend a lot of time. You've been over to the UK as well a few times to see us. First question I want to talk to you about is, how does Canada, because there's a lot of barbers and hairdressers that seem to mix quite a lot. The friendship seems to be very close between Canadian and the UK. How does the Canadians rate the UK barber scene?
Well, so I've been in the industry for 40 years. So since 1980, I went to hairdressing school, and we Canadians always had a fascination for the Brits. We always thought, you know, the top shows was the English shows. We were always fascinated with, you know, your people like Trevor Sorby, Tony and Guy, Sassoon. I mean, so we always looked towards the UK for inspiration. And, you know, back in the day, like back before internet, and, you know, things would start first in key places like London, let's say, and maybe Milan or New York, and then it would trickle down into smaller countries. And by the time, you know, like we just started, you know, like we would get the latest styles a year or two after you guys would set them. So we always looked towards you.
Do you know what though, Louis? I think that's changed now a lot as well. I mean, as you and Simon have travelled, you know, we've done with the BBA, we've done such a lot of work in Canada, you know, from the east to the west coast, you know, right through Vancouver, Edmonton, Calgary, you know, Toronto, but with social media now and with the world being such a small place, I think that's changed overnight almost, hasn't it? With industry as well. But I think with everything's so instant at the moment. But and Simon said, you know, Canada's so spread out, and I mean most people live within two hours of the border, don't they? Really, I mean I think that's where most of the people live, and you get a lot of American, you know, North American input in what you're doing. But I think from, you know, I've traveled over there. There's some great barbers in Canada as well, though. I mean, there's some people there that are really influencing the industry at the moment. You know, they're taking it to the industry as well. We've had Lee Remick on the show. We were talking to him a couple of weeks ago in a conversation. He can't wait for the shows to get going again. But he even brought it up about North America, you know, especially Canada. There's some really, really great talent coming out of there as well. So the world is a smaller place now, and Wahl and what they do with their education teams are showing that, aren't they?
Yeah, and like I said, I was explaining back then, but as you said, it all changed like that as soon as cell phones came out and internet. Because now we all know, you know, someone does a sick fade in downtown Toronto and posts it, and some barber in the UK or in Rome or in Russia will see it and copy it. So we're totally global. We're a global, you know, we're definitely a global.
What's the saying, Louis?
We're global, not local, motherfucker.
There you go. Listen, at least I've trained them to do something right. Louis, you got a cool bar behind you.
I can't even hear those words without thinking motherfucker in my head.
I've trained him well. The boy's been trained well. Louis, you're in a really nice bar there in Toronto. What are you drinking?
Well, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, so it's some beer.
Oh, listen, I said to him in the week, guys, I said, what time's it going to be in the afternoon there? 'Cause sometimes it depends where you are in America or Canada, depending which state you're in, what time it is. Normally he's in a fucking bad state, to be fair. And he said it's going to be around about 3:15 in the afternoon, 3:30. That's why it's time for a beer. He went, oh yeah, 3 o'clock's fine for a beer.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
You've got to remember. I mean, there's a lot of Canadians out there. They don't see a lot of sunshine as well, do they? Their favorite hobby is drinking. I think hockey and drinking is probably top 2 in their list of things to do.
Yeah, we created hockey so we can sit together and drink.
Louis, coming on to we're gonna talk through some questions here. We're gonna come on to Wahl a little bit through the interview, but we're gonna start off. Louis, you once told me that the new way of cutting in the salon that you work in. Listen, to this, guys. Louis does his haircuts with his headphones in, and he listens to music while he's cutting people's hair. Louis, do you want to tell the UK viewers and the globe about this innovative way of cutting hair? How's it work for you?
I'm just, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of sick of listening to my clients. So I put headphones on and I tell them I have an inner ear infection. And I hope none of them are watching this, because I tell them I have an inner ear infection and all the noise distraction gives me a bad pain. So I cut hair to Led Zeppelin all day.
So they tend to get the haircut that you want, not what they want, really, then?
More or less. Yeah. I thought it was a good idea.
I think it depends what kind of music it is.
It doesn't matter. It's my taste.
Yeah, I'm saying how you flowing through the haircut depends what kind of music you're on.
I see. Yeah, of course. Depends on the day. I'm very eclectic on my music.
Well, we're going to come on to that in a little bit, actually, about your music. Louis, one of the first questions I want to ask you then, we've got the nonsense out of the way a little bit there is, but if you had an ideal day where you could work alongside one of your hairdressing heroes, icon, for one day, who would that be?
Living or dead?
It's up to you.
Oh, well, I guess it would probably have to be Vidal Sassoon. I mean, I think he pretty well put the spike in the ground and everything split from there. It would have to be Vidal Sassoon, I would imagine, because he did what he did. As far as I know, he did what no one else ever did. Because now we just all copy each other, which is fine because it's information that flows. But it's like the first guy who drank milk. Like, what the hell was he thinking? Right?
Do you know what? I think that's a really good point, because from an innovation point of view now, from barbering, I think probably earlier on in the day it was easier to innovate because there wasn't so much out there. But when we've gone through, I think you're a gentleman similar age to me and Simon, and you've been through trends, styles, different areas, and there's only so much you can change or innovate a particular style. So, for instance, say short back and sides, now it's called a fade. A flat top or whatever. We can innovate it as much. We can finish it differently. But I think some of the basic techniques, it's very hard now to invent a brand new technique or something like that's never been seen ever before. I think something's always been adapted, hasn't it?
Can you both imagine, though, if we developed a clipper that's Sassoon designed and did an haircut with it just how many sales globally that, you know, as a barber guys and having barbershops, Louis working with us. Imagine if we got Sassoon in this day and age to design a clipper, to actually do maybe 4 haircuts with a clipper. Can you imagine that kind of, you know?
Well, I mean, Vidal Sassoon was the master of geometric structured lines. You know, we have the cordless detailer. I could pretty well do dry cuts and create those incredible geometric structures with a clipper or with a trimmer. So I think if Sassoon was around today, I know for sure he would be experimenting with every instrument he could, probably.
I'd like to be on a fly on the wall if we could do that. Guys, while you're watching this tonight, episode 42 of Barbers Arms, don't forget to follow us on our different Instagram accounts. They'll be popping up on your screen right now. So if you want to follow me, it's Simon Shaw Wahl. Gaz is the British Barber, and then Barbers_Arms on our website for all the last 42 episodes. You can watch the episodes there, and for the podcast download as well, you can get them on our website, which is thebarbersarms.co.uk. And if you want to email us with any information, you can email us at thebarbersarms@thebritishbarbers.com. Louis, moving on. In your career, what has been well, not so much the career, round about now, we never asked this question. We asked people about lockdown. I think you're pretty much similar to us in Canada. But from a personal point of view and professionally, what's the worst thing about lockdown, and what's the best thing about lockdown?
The worst thing about lockdown is everything. I mean, you know, it's not seeing people's smiles, not seeing people's reaction on their face. Everybody's wearing a mask. Bars, restaurants, you know, we're very social people. We'll go out 2-3 times a week to have a drink or to have some dinner. That's the absolute worst. The best, obviously, is well, it's forced us to be very creative lately. Like you know, the work. If we're talking about work, the work that we're doing now is not what I signed up for. I mean, you know, I'm a public speaker in person. That's my strength. But now I learned how to edit video during my time down. I did many Instagram stories where I would ask barbers not to waste this time because they'll never get it again. Because in 40 years that I've been cutting hair, I've took 2 weeks off to get married, and that's it. So to have all this time off and not learn to do something is a terrible thing. So I always ask people who are listening to me, look, learn something, like whatever it is, learn something. So I think a lot of people have got some new skills because they also followed that advice.
I think you're keeping a secret from us anyway, because you're a bit of an inventor and innovator anyway. You've got a new product in the market anyway, haven't you?
I do, yeah, I do. I mean, I came up with a cool idea a few years ago, and we've been doing really, really well. I have a product called Boss Caddy, which is an assisting tray for it attaches to chairs. And you know, it was basically drunk on a plane going to Greece, and I realized that my tray was attached to my chair, so it gave me the idea, and yeah, we're doing really well.
Fantastic. And that's what it's all about as well, though. I mean, when you work in an industry like ours that we're creative, to actually do something that actually improves or helps us to do our job, I think that's admirable as well. And if you can make a few bucks as well.
Watch the video, guys. He does the video really good. He's definitely, if he fails with us at Wahl, he's definitely QVC. Honestly, they're gonna headhunt him. Either that or McDonald's. He'll be headhunted very shortly.
I love McDonald's.
Louis, we don't throw this show together, you know. We do some research. We check guys out.
Your video's really good. He's very self-explanatory and he's really good. Before we move on with some of our final questions, Gaz, it's time for Rant or Rave.
So, Louis, what we do with our guests is we have a little spot called Rant or Rave, as Simon's just said. So you have 2 minutes to rant or rave about a particular subject. Now, this subject we don't know. The viewers, they will see it. The production team is now going to spin that wheel. So the production team is going to spin the wheel, and we're going to find out what subject it's going to be. And we don't even know this. He keeps us in the dark. He treats us like mushrooms. So as soon as it comes up, flashes up on your screen. What's it going to be? Karens. Is that an actual subject?
Karens, yeah, it's a subject.
So you got
2 minutes.
I'm glad you know what it means. So
I know.
You've got 2 minutes to rant or rave about Karens, sir.
Yeah. Starting now?
Start now.
Okay, well, don't get me started about Karens, because Karens are, by definition, middle-aged, jean-wearing, angry women who are way past their prime, and there's never been a bigger division in young people with old people, and that's tough for me because I'm almost 60, but in my head I'm like 18. So where I'm in a group of kids and a Karen will come by and she'll say, "Hey, will you guys get off the sidewalk?" And I'll think in my head, "Fuck you, Karen." And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, that's my friend's kid sister. So Karens, what the problem with Karens is they're what do you call it? They expect everything. They're self-righteous. They want to stick to the rules. They don't bend the rules. The kids don't know anything, and they're always complaining about the kids and my property. Don't touch this. But that's what I hate about Karens.
Time. Obviously, the production team must have did a little bit of fixing there when they stopped the wheel. I think the people in the UK so far, it's just been a random subject, but you've got a Canadian. I've never heard of Karens before.
Well, can I just say, any Karens watching the show, that isn't the BBA or Wahl's take on things. That is.
It's a Canadian thing.
That's me.
So
Brilliant, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
Before we move on to some of the quick fire questions, Louis, I have to ask you, because it's important, because we spent a bit of time together as well. What's been one of your most memorable world trips that you've had?
One of my most memorable wall trips obviously was with you in the UK, and I'll tell you what it was. I left Kent to go hang out in London for a few days, and you told me that you'd hook me up at this exclusive barber shop to get my hair cut and my beard fixed, and you gave me the address, and I had nothing to do, so I walked. And I walked from where I was staying near Burroughs Market. I crossed the bridge. I walked for about 2 hours and finally found this place, walked in and said, "Simon sent me." And they went, "Who?"
do you know what, Louis? The thing is, you should have known better, really, because
No.
You've gone to the wrong shop.
You know what, though? When you go anywhere in North America, so if somebody said to me, it's just down the road, can I find a liquor store or can I find a supermarket? And they'll just say, "Oh, it's just down the road." They mean 10 or 15 miles, don't they, in your country? Because nobody walks anywhere. So he had you back there. He got you back there big time.
The best part of that was I went to the wrong place, but in my head, I thought, "Oh man, Simon fucking got me good." And I called him, and he's like, "No, I didn't mean to do that." And I thought, "Are you sure? Because that was the best. I know that was the best, coolest move."
If I could have got him that way, I would have done. But he actually found the place where to go, and the guys at Jack the Clipper looked after him really well on Ball Lane, and he had a great service, didn't you? It was nice.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Finally.
And we've had some good times together. I'll never forget the time though. Last time I was in Canada, actually, we were doing some presenter course with the guys, and we'd got all set up. So it was round about just after lunch, probably 1-ish in the afternoon. Obviously, for me and Sam, it was probably late in the afternoon, so we were ready for dinner. So I said to Louis, comes out, he drives us out of his truck he says, "What do you want?" Just fancy a steak or something like that. I just fancy. Anyway, there's a trucker's diner. Just literally, we could have walked from the hotel. He went, "Well, oh, they done steak." He went, "Yeah, okay, we'll drive in there." Literally, guys, you went in. The knife and forks were on chains. I had to move my plate to one side to cut it, and then move it across the other side to take up a mouthful. Honestly, it was the pits. Sam was like that. He didn't move. He was like eating his food like that. Food was really nice, to be fair, but it was a definite steak pit.
You definitely haven't travelled with Brian Guam, because Brian, I eat at places like that all the time with Brian. He's a legend. So, right. You know Brian very well as well, don't you, Louis?
I do. I haven't seen Brian in a while, but I know him well.
You sent him a Valentine's card.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great fella. But just quickly for our viewers, are you actually, because you were a salon owner as well, aren't you? As well as being the main man for Wahl in Canada, but in Ontario, because you're in Toronto, you're in Ontario. Are you actually working at the moment? Is
No.
Ontario open?
So Ontario is half the population of Canada, has the population of 15 million people or so, Ontario. So most of Ontario is opened in, I think they call it the red or orange color. But Toronto and Peel, which is the closest borough, the closest town to Toronto, are still closed until I just heard March 9th.
All right. So you aren't actually on the tour. You aren't actually working at the moment. So is that probably the rest of? I mean, I know, for our viewers, there's huge areas in Canada. So is there anywhere in Canada at the moment there is working or not?
Yeah. I think they're working everywhere. They're working everywhere in Canada right now, I believe, except for Toronto and Mississauga, Toronto and Peel.
All right. Okay.
So they're working. They all have their. Different coded colors, but they all. I believe that everybody's working. I think even Quebec is working. So everybody's working again as of just recently.
Oh, that's great news. That's great news.
I have to say, Gary, I know you've been to Canada, but I love working in Canada because it's not about the place itself as well. For me, it's about the people. So Louis, and then Louis' peers as well. Aldo, who's the sales director. Frank Brown, who's the MD out there as well in Canada. Scott Fraser, who's now the VP for North Korea, Southeast Asia. He looks after lots of stuff. He's moved from Canada. He's looking after lots of stuff for Wahl, but he's Scottish, but he actually resides in Canada. So these guys have kind of grown up with these guys in the industry and the business, and I always have a great time because they're on our wavelength. Frank runs a similar ship out in Canada as what we do in the UK. Beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, guys, to visit Toronto as well, in particular, Louis is available for tour guides on an afternoon Star Ferries between 3 and 5 o'clock. He'll take you to Little Italy, Little Portugal, Little Venice. They're all there, just the little suburbs there of Toronto, and he'll finish off with a nice Chinese meal in Chinatown in Toronto. Louis, we're going to finish off with some quick fire questions. Yes, Gary.
Just 2 seconds. We can't mention Canada. We can't be in Canada and not mention French Canadian women. Is that a thing with you? Montreal. I mean, I've never been to a place like it in my life, and the big orange and everything else. But French, they're a bit fiery over there, aren't they?
Nothing like French Canadian women.
Oh, I mean, what a place. I mean, as Brian's actually, his better half, may I say, is French Canadian, and she's absolutely beautiful. But they have got a bit of a fiery reputation, haven't they?
They're angry.
We've got one in particular out in Canada, without mentioning any names. But Brian is a French Canadian woman, isn't he? He's there. I'm just saying, Brian. I know you're watching.
Yeah. Hey, Brian. Cheers, mate. I hope the blonde's okay, mate.
Cheers, Louis. So we're approaching that 9 o'clock hour here in the UK, and we're going to finish off with the Director of Education for Wahl Clippers in Canada, and one of the top stylists, and just recently nominated for the Wahl Canadian Barber of the Year in Canada, Louis Fierrro, one of my teammates. So Louis, we're going to finish off with the quick fire questions, if we can, with you, just to get a little profile for all our viewers in the UK, in Canada, and around the world. Don't forget to share this as well, Louis, on your social media afterwards, and with all our fantastic colleagues in Wahl Canada. Louis, what's your favourite music?
Good.
Good music. Okay. Okay, I like it. For all your clients out there as well, they aren't hearing aids. He just don't want to listen to it. He wants to listen to music, cut your hair, colour your hair, and avanti. What's your favourite drink?
Bourbon.
Bourbon. I've never seen you drink that when we were out together.
No, I always drink bourbon.
Yeah. Okay. I'll have to remember that next time we're in an expensive bar and it's your round. Favourite destination?
Oh, well, I never go anywhere twice, so that's a hard question. My next one, how's that?
Can you be a little bit more? Where's your next one gonna? Where's in idea? Where Thailand.
Thailand in January, next January.
On your own?
With my wife.
Good idea. Favorite food?
Favorite food? Chinese.
I knew you were gonna say that. And who would be your ideal dinner date?
You.
Okay, here we go then. It's Barber's Arms episode 42. We've got the Canadian connection in the house tonight. And we've got Louis Fierrro, who is having, he's listening to his favourite music, which is just any good music. He loves good music. Drinking his favourite bourbon drink. He's doing all this in his next destination, which is going to be Thailand. And he's doing this over a nice Chinese meal. And he's sat with the amazing Mr. Simon Shaw, having all this in Thailand, listening to good music, having some bourbon, eating Chinese food. Mate, I'm your next date, 100%. Ladies and gentlemen, from Canada, the one and only Mr. Louis Fierrro.
Louis, it's an absolute pleasure, as usual. We love you, mate. Hope you have a fine very soon.
I hope so, man. Good luck, guys.
Have a weekend.
Good luck.
Top man.
Kyle. He's a remember him as well. He's a funny guy. He is. The alternative to what you want to any straight guy. You don't want to ask him on stage, do you?
Do you know what? I meant that right at the beginning of the show, you know. When we travel sometimes it's a global team. There's a lot of us, but we spend a bit of time as well with the American team as well. You know, just one of them go-to guys where we'll pass jokes to each other over at table when it gets a little bit, sometimes a bit stale in the afternoon. My time difference, when it gets like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, it's like 7 o'clock at night for me. And I'm like, I'm just ready for a beer and ready to like rest my eyes. And then I have to look at Louis and I'll send him a joke over at table and I'll see him giggling. And it makes it just like, it's just like, I'm still a kid, aren't I? Do you know what I mean? It's still, but he's a great guy to travel with. Real great guy to travel with.
The thing is, though, you need people like that with you anyway, because otherwise, what would life be? You've got, I cannot go anywhere and not either have a smile or a laugh or a giggle. And usually a pint in my hand, because that usually brings a smile or a giggle out anyway. So it's absolutely fine. It's a win-win, isn't it? So
I have to do that. What's happening on cocktail tonight?
Right, we've got a very special cocktail tonight. The only reason being is I should have done it last week because are you getting back road or are you all right at the minute? So this is his favourite, and I would have done it last week for his birthday, but it was Chinese New Year wanted, so I had to do the Chinese whisper. So, and the ingredients for this, I had to get in. So I didn't have these in the store cupboard at all. So anyway, I'll let you go for a pee now anyway, mate. So, ladies and gents, what we're doing tonight, we're having a Pisco Sour, which is Peruvian brandy, which is the main ingredient. And, you know, if you haven't got this, this is one of those cocktails, I'm afraid, that unless you've got this, you cannot make it. You can't really, you know, use a different ingredient. So we've got our shaker as usual. We're going to put some ice in, and I've got some dry ice already. So when I say what dry ice is, it's not sloppy, it's not watery. So we put some ice in there. We've got our glass already filled. We've got our cocktail glass, which is here. And the ingredients, to save time, and I'm glad I've done it tonight because we are running a little bit late, I've got ready. So what we start off with is our Machu Picchu, which is Pisco, and it is a Peruvian brandy. It's made with a different type of grape. It is Chilean as well, so you can use Peruvian or Chilean. And we use, usually it's clear, but we've used a different type to that. And I've struggled really to get hold of this this ingredient. So Trevor, I'm going to send you a bottle over as well into Australia. So we're putting it in. So we've got 2 ounces or 2 shots of our Pisco. We've got 1 shot of freshly squeezed lime juice, key limes, really strong key limes if you can find it. And we've got simple syrup. So this is the sweetness part of it. So I use this. I don't know if you can see that. This is the Machin. So it's just simple syrup. It's clear syrup. It's made of sugar cane. It's pure sugar cane. And if you haven't got it, you can use agave or something like that. But really, if you can, you just need simple syrup. So we've got 3/4 of a shot of that as well. So that's gone in. Just let that drop in. So that's lovely. And then the bit that makes it the sour as well is we've got our egg white. So about 15 ml. So when you separate your egg, you can use the rest for your breakfast in the morning if you want to, if you like your yolks. So we just need enough to make the froth. So we put that in there. So we've got all our ingredients. We shake it up, and then we get a acidity. So what we need is about 21.5 shakes. That's what you need. Just let you know.
Exactly.
So we tip this in. I'm going to put it on the top there. So we're going to have and just to give it that last bit, you just need the last bit of froth on there. And there we have it. I can't let it settle because it will settle, and you'll see. You see, so you've got the egg white, and it will separate, and it'll give you a lovely topper. So it'll give you like a Guinness head, if you like. But there you have it, a Pisco Sour, absolutely beautiful, purely good health to you, Trevor. That's exactly for you, mate. Happy birthday for last week. Good health, everybody. You ought to try this. It's worth the investment in a bottle. Lovely.
Looks nice.
I had to try it because you have to try these beforehand, don't you? Just to check make them properly. So I've never had one of these before. I didn't do any research, and it's absolutely beautiful.
That's your 42nd cocktail as well, by the way. So well done. If anybody's looking for a casting for the new cocktail film with Tom Cruise, then Gaz, I think you're going to fit right in there.
Oh yes, I can be your Maverick anytime. Listen,
before we move on, guys, before we get our local hero, we'd like to make an announcement as well tonight. It's going to pop up on your screen now, but on all the Wahl social media sites, we are launching what's called our new Team Talk. So this is for hairdressing salons and barber salons to apply through the Wahl social media sites, and it's a 1 hour team talk for you and your staff free of charge. We're giving something back to the industry with myself or one of my team, but predominantly with myself. And we're going to do what's called a team talk, where we'll talk to you and your staff. All the details are on there, how to apply for the team talk. But it's all about just a general chat with you and your staff. We're going to talk all things clipper clinicking. So we'll talk about different clippers. We'll talk about how the hygiene side of it. We'll talk a bit about the industry. We'll talk a bit about some of the points that you want to talk about, and also just a motivational chat to everybody to keep everybody's spirits nice and high in lockdown 3. It's tough for everybody out there, and we thought this would be a great thing for tying you all together. You don't need to be in your salon. Once you apply and you get successfully, the applications come through, and we'll give you a time slot. It's a 1 hour time slot, and we will give you the team talk to you and your team. You can do it from home, and your team can do it from home. You all get a login, and you can do that. So that information's on your screens as we're speaking now, and just go to all the Wahl social media sites on Instagram or on our Facebook, and you can apply to have one of our team talks. We did this first one, Gary, on Tuesday, which was a little pilot, but that was to Andy at Andy's at Bicester, the guy who won the Wahl British Barbershop of the Year. And it was superb. He loved it.
Great. So I know some of my team are listening. So come on, get on the link, and we'll be having one of those, I'm sure. You can do 40 of us at once, can't you?
Yeah, we've got as many as people. If there's 2 people on it, if there's just 1 person on it, or if there's 50, 60, 70, 80 people on it, it don't matter. We'll just send the links out. It's private to you and your salon, so there's no one else gets involved in that. If we're not like gathering teams together, and it's just a 1 hour show. We've got a really nice structure to it. We do some introductions, and then there's nothing to be done. We'll show you a few techniques with clippers, and it's just a free little seminar for you guys. And we just thought it'd be a nice thing to keep people together and to give you a bit of information. And so that's just been launched today. So you're in it first here on Barbers Arms. It's only been launched at 3 o'clock today. So obviously this is the first public time we've been able to speak about it live.
So are you running that through lockdown, or is that after lockdown? Or
well, up until salons can get back to work, obviously, at the minute, if you wanted to do it, and it's like we're doing 4 a day, so there's 4 1 hour slots per day. So, I think when you're back at work, it's probably going to be difficult to do a team talk to your staff. But from now till then, we're hoping to get, maybe 50 or 60 or even 70 of these done. So just apply on the Wahl social media sites, or if you want to even email us through here at Barbers Arms, you can do so, but we'll direct you to the proper channels to log in. But it's just we really enjoyed it the other day. We talked about some really good stuff, especially the retail side of it for his staff. Some of the stuff that people sometimes struggle with retail. We've got some great techniques and tips, and some ideas for you when you get back. Some of the stuff I've banged on about while we're in lockdown to get your game up and ready for when you do get back. But I do think, Gary, with what the government doing and vaccinations and stuff, I feel a little bit optimistic tonight. It's most I've ever felt is that when we get back this time, I don't think there's going to be too many lockdowns after this. I think it's going to be the one where we're going to live with coronavirus. People are going to be vaccinated. I think most people are going to have passports or some kind of notification where they're going to premises. And I think for barbers as well, I know barbering's quite a young industry, but where possible, if you can get a vaccination done, it's nice that you can say your salon and your team have been vaccinated for clients that's coming in. So I do feel very optimistic that we're getting towards the light at the end of the tunnel.
Definitely. Anybody who wants to get on that, I'm sure, you know, with the quality Wahl offer, I'm sure it'll be a fantastic opportunity. Can I just, I know this is indulging myself, but I just need to say this. I hope she's watching. I haven't actually seen her pop up yet, but just like to wish and I know you've got one as well, so we'll do it together. But I'd like to wish my beautiful eldest daughter, Jessica Jane Machin, a wonderful 25th wedding anniversary, a wonderful 25th birthday tomorrow. She's 25 tomorrow. So proud of her. She's absolutely a joy, and she's my firstborn as well. So I love her to death, and hope to see her tomorrow as well. So I just just indulge myself a little bit there to just wish her a fantastic birthday.
Oh, happy birthday for tomorrow, Jess. And I always put on Brittany, my daughter. I've got two kids, Brittany and Alex, but I always put on her birthday cards, Christmas cards to my firstborn. She loves it. I think it gives her a bit of a, see, Alex, look, I'm the firstborn. It's nice to do that. So happy birthday tomorrow, Jess. And, it's nice that hopefully you get to see it tomorrow as well.
Well, with a bit of, I mean, you know, can't go anywhere.
Come on, there's somebody
If I don't see it, I'll be disappointed. But you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? We're in a bubble, so she should see me anyway. So I will be disappointed, Jessica, if you're not here tomorrow. Anyway, so let's get on. It's our second guest. So this young fella is all the way from Derby, absolute gentleman, and he's come on for us tonight. He's got a number of salons, Abbott's and Co. He's got 2 shops at the moment. He did have 3, I think. He's a farmer. He's a teacher. He's an extraordinary. He's been chopping up a bull all day long and delivering it for him. And he's got a wonderful supportive wife in Becky. So I'd like to introduce Mr. Chris Abbott. How are you, mate?
Good evening. Yeah, I'm really well, mate. How are you?
I can see you're not in a bar. Yeah, we can hear you. It's all good, mate. I can see you're not in a bar, and I know you're not in the salon. So you're coming live from home, are you?
I am literally coming live from home. Yeah, I've just came out the bedroom. I've been kicked out by the kids. So yeah, all good.
Right, Chris. I know we've worked with you. Before. I know we've worked with you before, and from a training point of view, you've got some great stories to talk to us about, and your story is really inspiring anyway. But just quickly for our viewers, just tell us where you're coming from, who you are, what you are, and where you come from.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Chris Abbott, owner of Abbott and Co. Hairdressing hair company. We had 3 barber shops and a ladies salon, little boutique ladies salon. We've just scaled down to 2 salons. The 2 barbers and 1 ladies salon. I still work on the floor 3-4 days a week. Run the shops, as you say. We've got a farm. So just quite busy. We do lots going on. Loads of, where to even start? We're doing loads of stuff in the industry. Just had a feature in Modern Barber. We've had work out there in Barber Evo. So yeah, all good.
Good. So what are you drinking tonight with us, Chris?
I'm on Donkey Stones. It's a local brewery.
Just tell us where you're from. You say it's a local
I'm up in the so it's in Saddleworth, just between Manchester and I live just between Manchester and Sheffield, so it's in the Peak District. But yeah, it's out in Saddleworth, a little brewery out there. It was a birthday present.
Perfect. Well, I'm just getting cracking you in for you. This is one of my favourites. this is Abbott's ale, so this is quite apt for you anyway. So have you still got your salon in Chapel of Faith? Have you?
Yeah, we've still got Chapel. We've got one in Hadfield. It's the Buxton one we've let go.
All right, okay. So that was the one that we did some training for you, did when we did the shave training, wasn't it?
It is, yeah, it's one that you came up to, yeah. And Eric's been up as well. Done a little bit with the team.
Yeah, Eric said.
Up this way, Simon.
I spoke to him earlier.
You must know it over this way. We're just the other side of the Snake Pass.
Yeah, I know the area that you're mentioning. I've not been up there, but I mean, I'm just going to say it's a really nice area that anyway, isn't it? It's just nice countryside, and it's just a nice area to be in.
And rural.
It's a lovely place, and to actually live and work in somewhere like that is absolutely fantastic. I know you've been an educator, and you've got a little backstory as well. So you were a barber, then you went into teaching. You were a drama teacher, weren't you?
I was, yeah. I was for 5 years. I started hairdressing at 14. Went back and did my A-levels at 18, and I fell into barbering kind of whilst I was doing my A-levels. And I've kind of just done it ever since. And then I was teaching for 5 years, still carried on barbering throughout it. And then Labour lost the general election in 2010, and an opportunity came up for me to open a shop, so I took it. Knowing that my drama and kind of freelance work was coming to an end. And then I intended to open a shop, get busy, get some staff, go and do something else. And 11 years later, I had opened 3 shops and I had 17 staff at one point.
Chris, Gaz is just saying there, and for all our viewers that's watching as well, and watch it in the week as well. So you've got barbershops and you live on a farm. Okay.
Yes.
You know, one of the funniest things I ever did in my career, with PR company that were working with us at the time, she said, "Oh, I've got this job for you to do. We want you to go out as a adjudicator on the Guinness Book of Records." I went to this studio somewhere in I forget where it were, but basically it was, I was phoning her, I said, "I've been here since 9 o'clock. I'm not even gone on set yet." This were 2:30, freezing. You were in the green room. There were these big tents. Dermot Gallagher were there as well, the old referee. And I had to adjudicate to check. There was a sheep shearer and an hairdresser who was shaving people. And it was the quickest who could do it. The sheep shearer won it. And Dermot Gallagher did the whistle and everything. And I was like, what am I doing here? Can't believe I'm doing it. But Chris, what's the funniest thing that's happened to you during lockdown, working, you know, obviously in a farm and your barber shops and things, doing bits? Yeah. What's kind of funny story that you've had?
The farm was my father-in-law's. He was taking some cattle out to local shows, and he decided that he ought to win because he had the best trimmer in the area, because he had a barber in his and he bought, I swear to God, a pair of clippers like this. They were absolutely huge. I've got photographs somewhere of me kicking out, trimming, giving a quick fade to a cattle.
What was the clippers called? Were the clippers called Lister?
Can you remember? Heigenberger or something?
Because obviously what we do, the big agricultural clippers as well, which is our brand called Lister. So I was in cow afterwards anyway.
All right.
I tell you what.
Oh yeah, they'll be yours, Simon, definitely.
Good. What's your favourite wall clipper, Chris?
my hand is swayed. No, I'm kidding. My Magic's. Magic's easy for everything.
Magic
clips, yeah.
I tell you what, Chris, any opportunity, even when you're shaving your prize bull, it's got to be Wahl, hasn't he? He's got no shame at all whatsoever.
You can't nip your cow. You don't want to nip your cow's bollocks, do you?
Do you know what? I'm going to share this very quick story with you. I'm going to try and do it in really quick time. As a young hairdresser stylist, I'd worked for Dimensions, and I'd gone to one of the smaller units and been a manager there for about 12 months. And I'd built this salon up really, really well. And it was one Saturday afternoon, and one of my main strengths were obviously getting the staff to sell retail. And this Saturday afternoon, we cashed up, and me and the assistant manager, Neil, were there, probably just having a beer after work. This lady walked in, and when she walked in, I could smell just kind of like agricultural smell, cow shit, whatever it were, on her feet, whatever. And she walked in and she went, "Oh, I'm after some of this shine spray you've got." And as a young stylist, and I use this in retail training, I assumed that this woman didn't know what she was on about, and I assumed that she weren't probably even going to be able to afford the shine spray. And I probably she didn't get my attention at all. And then she started talking to me, and cut a long story short, it learned me never to assume about anybody, because after about 5 minutes of talking to me, she was saying that she was taking her cattle to market and she was showing prize bulls, and she used the shine spray on the coats to make them really shiny. And she ended up buying every bit of shine spray that we had in the shop after we'd closed that day. And, you know, my retail sales on Monday were going to look fantastic because she bought 12 of these shine sprays. And it was just like, it was proper, just learned me some of that, you know, with that. And obviously, I know Gaz is into farming and stuff. And you saw Gaz's pony, but he takes for a ride over the new year. Size doesn't always matter. I'm sure you two get on. I'm sure you're on phone to each other about this.
Well, we're not that far away from each other.
No, we're not. We're only over there, aren't we?
Yeah, we're over the hill and just back a bit. We're all right. We're not far away at all.
Gaz, what about Chris?
No.
Shed something like this. Anybody from the north? But anybody who comes up north, and you always said to me, when you get over that M62 corridor and we see the house in the middle of the motorway, how far away from that are you?
So, depending on which way you come, if you can come up to half an hour tops.
Funny way you just said that. Just wait.
He's not Leeds way. If you keep going, he's not that way. He's from where the road is. He's over the hill.
You know what's really interesting about that house in the middle of the motorway? Have you noticed this, both of you? Periodically, it will change the colour of its windowsills. That's true. You're driving along sometimes, the house is white. Guys, for everyone who's watching, there's a house in the middle of the motorway that splits the M62. If you go into water, you're on the top side of it, and the house is white or grey colour. Sometimes the windowsills are all red. Sometimes they're grey. Sometimes they're turquoise.
Simon.
Sorry?
Sponsored by Dulux.
I'm sure it is.
Dulux.
I'm sure it is. Is it still people living in that now, or is it just used as a...
No, there's people living in it.
I'm not.
Getting off the roads from your point of view, then, Chris. Yeah, on what you do. I know you're a teacher by trade. I know you want to get into education as well. And you know, when we talked, and obviously we've worked together, and you've done some stuff with. I mean, do you remember when you did some stuff for us on stage at for the Hair Council, the Barber Council? I think that was Manchester or Birmingham. 2000.
Pro Life, wasn't it? And then we did Birmingham the following year.
Yeah, that was when we did Wall Street. Do you remember when we did Wall Street, Simon?
Yeah, 2016, 2017, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had all the stands around, associate stands that were all to do with barbering, and
that's it. So I know you want to get into education.
That's chair for Hair Pro for years. That
I know. You can't believe how quick time's gone, can you? But you know, from
No.
your point of view, and there'll be a lot of people in your situation as well. You're multiple locations. You've been in the job a long time. You want to get into education. How's it affected your outlook on what you're doing and where you go now? After COVID,
it's hard. It is hard, and it does make you question where you want to be and what you want to do, and how supported we feel it. And I'm not too sure. To be dead honest with you, Gary, I really don't know. I'm toying we're moving on. I'm toying we're doing something else. But then I've said this before, and every time I've done it, I've ended up working on Saturday for somebody. I've ended up keep my hand in, and keep my hand in one day leads to me doing 2 days, and then it builds up. So I don't know is the total honest answer for you. Even when I taught, I still barbered 2 days a week.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Do you know what?
I
think it's refreshing though. I mean, we all try to stay upbeat and do what we know and what we want, and it's going to be bigger and better than when we go back. And there is some people out there, I've had loads of messages saying, it isn't all roses. It isn't all I'm going back how I used to be. And I don't want to bring it down or anything, but there is people questioning themselves as well. But
you know what? Dressing up in the PPE, it's a pain in the arse. It's standing 10 hours behind a chair, isn't it? Then when you've got a face mask on, then you've got a visor on. Yeah, and then you're doing all your extra cleaning down and your extra sanitization, and you washing and shampooing everybody and trying to sell that to your clients on top of your service. It's not actually that pleasant. Yeah, and it does. You've got to be honest about that. It has brought a very different dimension, and I love going to work. I love talking to clients. I love the banter. And it puts a physical barrier there. And I don't know. It's not as. It does take something away. It does.
Yeah. And I think we all feel that way in a way, but we've done it because if we don't, there's no alternative really. But from a barber's arms point of view. Cheers, mate. I've got a pint of Abbott's ale here. Love you to death. Have a good one. Give my love to Beck, and we will see you on the other side, sir.
100% you will do. Cheers, Gary.
Keep the faith, Chris. Good luck with the farm and that treacle that you're drinking there. It looks very strong. It looks like one of the old-fashioned snake bites I used to drink many years ago. But good luck, mate. Thanks for coming on Barbers Arms.
Oh, you cannot take that blackcurrant.
Keep using your magis. All the best to you, pal.
Thanks very much, Chris.
Very much.
See you later, mate. Well, you see, that's another aspect to it, isn't it, as well? Not everybody's still in love with the job. So it's
rare. It's rare because a lot of people I've spoke to young Killian tonight, who won the Barber of the Year, and he's just got they put him on the front cover of Barber Evo. Our friends Andrew and David have put him on the front cover and showed me a little sneak preview of the shot, and he's obviously madly in love with this industry. So I've had one extreme today to the other, which is honest, and it's what this show's all about. It's showing the honesty, and it's funny because I get messages there. It's like I've had loads of messages pop up, and like we've all got backdrops of bars behind us. Somebody's put up here. Carl Smith's put up on one of the messages. Hello, I'm Chris. I'm calling from my bog.
That's terrible. He's from his house, isn't he?
Yeah, because we're in a backdrop of a bar, though. It looks like
okay. Well,
funny.
We've got a lot of support as well. We've got Alison Russo Brown, Stephen Bean, Sarah Machin, and all that. And they said you know, exactly, we've had all the same thoughts. They're actually, you know, we just got to stay positive. But the thing is with Chris, he is a qualified teacher as well. And I've done some work with him. His shops are lovely, absolutely lovely. He's got some great staff as well. And I just think, you know, I spoke to Eric. Eric Lander's been on tonight just before we came on. And, you know, I said, you know, I just said to him, I've got to go because, you know, we're due on any second. But, you know, Eric's the same, you know, and I said to him, the first one, I didn't think he was going to last. The second one, it was for a month. I thought, oh, this is not odd. This one, I think, is affecting me more than anything else. And I have got to the point where I think, if this is going to happen?
But Gary, it's about that. You know, we have a big thing at Wahl, and it's very important, and RMD's done really well with this, which is you manage expectations of people and your teams around you. It's very important that people know where they stand. But one thing that I've actually learned to do is reflect and point that perception to myself, which is like manage my expectations, which is like, you ain't going to go back. You're not going to be able to travel. You're not going to be able to funny people and go out and see people. Can't do it. So I've had to condition myself in my head. And I'm going to say, since the turn of the year, I will just the workload that we're doing at the minute for different stuff, and, you know, obviously with this team talk and different things I'm doing, I haven't got any time through the day now. It just seems to be, you know, in first part of lockdown, I said for first month, you're getting to grips with it. Like you said earlier, you never had this time, or I think Louis said he'd never had this time in his adult life, and none of us have. We've always worked. All the time we got time off is holiday. I never take any time off and spend a few days at home unless it's a wedding or a funeral or dentist or a doctor's appointment. I never take a day's holiday. In the UK, my holidays are when I go abroad. But one thing I've learned to do is to condition what's up here and put, you know, it ain't going to happen. So what is going to happen, and manage that. Manage what's going to happen from day to day or week to week. You know, we've all had these big motivational things where we've all said to each other, where do you see yourself in 2 years' time, 3 years' time, 5 years' time? What's your 10-year plan? Fucking bollocks. It's like at the minute, stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, month 1, month 2, month 3. Then it depends whether that's September, October. We'll have a plan ready, but at the moment, it's tough. You have to manage probably week to week, month to, you know, most you can manage is three weeks in advance, 4 weeks in advance at the minute, till the announcements come out.
I don't even think it's that much. I think it's less than that, because when they don't give you any information, it's just, you're just thinking all the time. You're just like, I don't know. It's hard to get motivated. I know I've seen the difference in you. You've almost got stronger through lockdown. You probably started from the original lockdown to now. You're probably more positive now than you've ever been. I feel like I'm the other way. I feel like I've done everything I possibly can to do what we need to do to work and to open, and it's been not back. And I just think now, you know, and I'm not being defeatist here at all or whatever, but
no,
you know, from when you're working in shops, when you're working with multiple locations and you're dealing with staff and everything, I just found this last time now, I just thought, if this can happen now, it can happen anytime. And I just think, where are we going, you know? And yeah. But I think for you've got stronger.
I think this is the thing that I've been learning to do, though, which is condition yourself and to. I'm lucky with the MDs. He's a very strong leader, so he gets the best out of the directors. He gets the best out of the senior management team. And whether sometimes when you're in the middle of it, you probably don't like it, but it always works that you get the best out of him. And do you know what? Next Wednesday, I'm doing my first seminar to one of the Wahl global teams in India, which is behind the scenes how to do virtual training or a virtual presentation. And I would have never seen myself doing that 12 months ago. But now I'm not saying for anything at all I'm a specialist in virtual training or virtual anything, social media in particular, it was my weakest point before lockdown. One thing I've learned to do is get a structure together, make it look good, make it sound good. And one thing I'm probably the best at is the presenting side of it. So if you get a structure to it, you've got a backdrop to you, we can make it happen. And, you know, so within a 12-month period, I've come full circle to it. And you're right, I seem to be getting kind of like stronger in terms of what's happening. And probably just to get to my peak where this is normality, we're going to go back and I'm going to be traveling again. And I'll have to find out and I have to find my feet again with what we're doing. As we are in the bar here, we've had a few beers tonight. Great guests on, LOUIE FIERRO from Wahl, Canada, Chris Abbott up there in Saddleworth, just off the M62. I've got my last drink in here, guys. The bells rang. You got a final message for everybody?
Hey, have you got yours? Have you
No.
brought it with you?
Oh, I ain't going with me a minute. I'm gonna you haven't put yours on Wahl yet.
I know. Well, I'm going to make a little wooden. This was Simon's. This was Simon's. I don't know if anybody can see that. This is Simon's birthday present, and can you see it on there? It's the Barbers Arms established 2020. So this is going to be a little homage
item.
We are definitely having a little moment every time now. It's going to be. You're going to have
You know
last
what?
door, or I'm going to, once we get it installed and it's properly, I'm going to make you have a shot every time. So when people are watching, our listeners, our viewers, if you want us to have a shot, you've got to say, ring the bell, Gary. So he's going to have a shot.
It'd be nice next week to find out as well with our viewers as well, or even tonight, put some comments on. What do people do when we're having shots? Or I ain't had any shots tonight, to be fair. I'm not feeling it with that kind of stuff, that kind of behaviour that he does every single week. But what do you drink through Barbers Arms? What shots do you like? Do you get involved with the cocktail? Would you like to see the cocktail recipe before we get on so you can do your cocktail with Gaz? 42 different cocktails, Gary, you've done over Barbers Arms. I think that's a massive achievement in itself. 42 different cocktails.
We've got to get to 100, haven't we? So if we get to 100, I'm sure we'll bring a little book out, or we'll do it digitally or something. But we'll definitely we'll have a milestone.
Trevor will be giving this one now, thinking, "Oh no, I can't wait for expenses to come in."
Hey, you ought to see my bar now. There isn't this through me. This one today, I have never heard of this ingredient before. This is a Peruvian brandy. I mean, are you kidding me? I had to go out and actually find this. I mean, sometimes I do have to go out and get the odd ingredient, but I've got most of them now. But when I sent this one, obviously it's too posh for me. It's not from Stoke, is he? He's picked this up in his Asian travels, hasn't he, somewhere, Trevor? So he's lived in Singapore and everywhere else that you can imagine he's lived. But he's obviously moved in some...
Your cocktails have looked superb every week. And just saying there where you said Singapore, I've been in Singapore a few times. The most disappointing thing for me was getting on a bus tour, jumping off of one of these off-on, off-off bus tours, jumped off at the Raffles, went to the Long Bar, thought I've got to have a Singapore Sling. I had two, about 85 quid, and it was the most disappointing drinks I've ever had in my life. Came out like, I need to get to market where Chinatown is and have a few beers to swill my sorrows down.
I tell you what, they are the worst drinks in the world, aren't they, Singapore Sling?
Yeah, maybe you should do one of them next week and make it look better than what I had at the Long Bar in the Raffles Hotel. And literally, guys, it was about 84 quid for two drinks. And if everybody's been in there, you'll nod your heads now. Have you been in it, Gaz, the Raffles Hotel?
No, I've never been to Singapore.
Trev will have been in it. So you go into the Raffles Hotel, yeah, and you go into the Long Bar. And the one thing I like walking in, I'm so disappointed. There were peanut shells all over the floor because they give you these balls of peanuts and you just shell them and eat them, and you're not supposed to put them on your table. Oh, I was leaving them in a neat pile on the table. The waiter came up and he just went like that, just put them on the floor. I'm like, it's supposed to be posh in here. It's supposed to be nice. It's supposed to have some nice ambience. You know, it's not like a bar in Vegas or it's like crunching all over the. I got some sliders on it. We're like, oh, Mare, proper mare.
I've just got to bring up as well, Johnny King's just told me I've got a terrible Irish accent. I haven't done an Irish joke tonight. Have you got an Irish joke?
So has he.
Yeah, because he's from Northern Ireland. Mr. Johnny King, I know I'm toasting you. I'm not with the Irish whiskey that you were supposed to do, but here's their fireball to you. Good out.
Talking of fireballs, we'll see you all next week. Episode 43. We'll be announcing Monday, Tuesday who as our guests on next week. I think it's going to be an American theme as well. And we're hoping to still get some barbers that are out there working and back in the business so we can see them actually working. So we're hoping to fetch you that again next week on Barbers Arms, episode 42. In the meantime, if you're available and you're eligible, get your vaccines done. And if not, you heard the statement here, you know what the rules are. Be good, be safe, protect our NHS, and let's get back to some normality in the next few months, to say the least. Let's see that light at the end of the tunnel. Weather's getting a little bit better. We're nearly a year into this lockdown nightmare, so let's hope by 23rd of March in a few weeks' time that we've seen some big light at the end of that tunnel. Have a great weekend, guys. I'll pass you over to Gaz for a final word, but God bless to you all. Good night.
Thanks, Simon. Well, all I can say is thanks everybody for watching. I can't wait to get back on the road. I'm sure Rachel can't either, the barmaid. She can't wait for me to get back on the road either. Can't wait to take the Barbers Arms on the road. I'm sure it's going to be an absolutely great success, and I can't wait to see all our viewers. But just one thing, stay safe. We're on the back straight now, so hopefully, love you all. And let's have another drink each Friday. Good night.
Adios. Good night.